Go for liftoff in T-minus 30.
Stand by for further instructions, Minnesota Black Robe Regiment.
Secondary guidance systems engaged.
Minnesota Black Robe Regiment, it will be on my mark.
All systems are a go. All systems are a go.
Minnesota Black Robe Regiment, you are over the target. You are authorized to fire at will.
Hey, thanks for stopping by Minnesota Black Robe Regiment. As always, if you don't know who I am, I'm TC. I'm the host of the show. And this series doesn't have a title, but I like to talk to people who are running for office. And the option is open to anybody who's running for office. I don't care if you're DFL. I don't care if you're independent. I don't care if you're libertarian. I don't care if you're GOP. I don't care if you are the Make Weed Legal party right now. If you want to get some exposure to real people in the state of Minnesota and across the country, depending on where you're from, let me know and we'll get you on and we will talk to you. I have an announcement to make. This is my first time being able to do this, but I have picked up an official sponsor here for Minnesota Black Robe Regiment. I want to thank Carmel and Ike Eichhoff for doing some sponsorship for me. They have became fans of the show, and they said, hey, we'd like to help you out with your production cost and other things. And they own a business called Arden Sales Group, and I don't have an official formal ad or commercial for you guys, but Arden Sales Group specializes in what every Minnesotan needs, which is an indoor golf range and an indoor shooting range done by laser. And I'm going to show you guys a little bit of what they do here. Arden Sales Group literally specializes in things like skills training software for competitions. They specialize in giving you like high-end golf experiences in your own home. They'll help you set those things up. You can play soccer, baseball, hockey, football, lacrosse. You can do bowling and zombie. I don't know what zombie dodgeball is, but if I was going to invest in a system like this, it would either be for the shooting or for zombie dodgeball, because quite frankly, zombie dodgeball sounds like a blast. So if you haven't checked out Arden Sales Group, I would suggest that you go check them out, especially if you happen to be the kind of person who likes to golf, but you live in Minnesota or anywhere in the northern Midwest, or anywhere else in the country for that matter, where seasons affect your ability to go out and play golf. You check with Arden Sales Group, reach out to them today and tell them TC sent you, and I bet they can hook you up with a really good system. The other people that I would like to tell you about are, well, it's not people, it's a person. It's my friend Laura Rear from Rocky Mountain Health and Healing. She offers telemedicine in Minnesota, Montana, Wyoming, North Dakota, and South Dakota. And she is all about medical freedom. She's all about healthcare autonomy. And she will work with you. And if you're within 100 miles of where she is in Montana, she'll actually make house calls. Tell me the last time you heard a doctor anywhere in the United States make house calls. She'll do it. She is a nurse practitioner. She has a doctorate, and she is very good at what she does. And she has sacrificed a whole heck of a lot for her ability to do what she's doing. So in the meantime, check out the coffee and the merchandise. I've got mugs, tumblers. I love, this is my mug. You guys see it in every one of my shows because I'm either sipping coffee or some other beverage, which no one is allowed to mention on air because, adult beverages. But coffee, I love these, by the way. And my friends over at Second Generation Creations make these for me. And my good friend and fellow veteran, Brandon, and his wife make the coffee. And it's an exclusive blend just for me. And No, you won't get anywhere else. And I'll tell you what, if you are a fan of some of the other coffees that are out there, and you might, recognize it. This is Minnesota Black Robe Regiment coffee, Muhlenberg roast. There's another coffee out there that has the word black and in its name. This is better. And I have had people that have absolutely quit buying from others and buy exclusively from me now. So we're going to bring Brandon. Excuse me, Brandon. I was talking about coffee. We're going to bring Nathan Wesenberg on. He's running for Senate District 10. You guys know I'm a completely professional show, by the way. So that's why we have struggles here. As I've said before, I am my own showrunner, producer, and director, and I don't work off a script. We're going to bring Nate Wesenberg off. Some of you saw my video that I put out the other day of Nate's wife, Jen, being assaulted by a man at a county convention in Morrison County. I believe it was a county convention. Because he had the audacity to ask questions and talk about how Morrison County Republican Party did not abide by their own constitution. And for that, his wife was physically aggressed and assaulted by what, well, quite frankly, is an old guard toxic male who happened to be one of the parental units of the county chair there. So, Nate, let's just get this underway. Thanks for doing this.
Hey, how's it going?
Well, it's been rough here at the start, as you can see. I clearly wasn't. I thought I was ready for this tonight, and I'm not. So I'm stumbling all over myself.
Say, my name is definitely not Brandon. We don't want to associate me with that guy.
I was thinking of the people who make my coffee, Brandon and Carla. That was what's
That's all right.
So let's go, Brandon.
Yeah, right. Let's go, Brandon.
Anyway, so we made some connections because I saw you running for office. I reached out to you and you started to share a little bit of your story with me and told me about your beloved wife being assaulted at the county convention.
Yeah. So I guess I was just talking to the mother of our chair about how the rules, the Constitution isn't being followed, and you have to follow rules. I mean, that's what rules are for. And I was just standing there talking to her about that, and Jenny was, holding her phone like by her belly, I guess, and she had it on because we were recording things because we know that there's a lot of crazy stuff happening right now. So you want to try to record it so then you can.
Well, you're just stupid if you don't anymore.
Right, exactly. So that way we can back up what we say. So she was recording, and Lauren came and grabbed her shoulder and tried to rip the phone out of her hands. So then I said, you need to stop doing that. Just stop touching my wife. You can't be grabbing a phone out of people's hands or assaulting people. It's illegal. And then,
well, did you guys pursue that at all?
We did. The police department basically said there wasn't enough evidence, I guess, to do anything. So then that comes back to my mind. Well, maybe these people.
Was it the police department or was it the county sheriff's office?
I believe we brought it to the police department. I know
what city was that in?
It happened in Little Falls in town. So
okay, just before you go any further, ladies and gentlemen, we need to reach out to the police department of Little Falls, Minnesota, and ask them, what date was that?
That was March 12th, I want to say.
So you guys filed a formal criminal complaint against
Correct.
Lauren Heffron.
Yes.
Heffron. And you were told there wasn't enough evidence.
Correct.
You had video.
Well, we have video. You saw it, and there was 100 people. There was 100 people standing there, and everybody saw what happened.
So, ladies and gentlemen, right now, all tens and tens of you who are watching this live, and then when you watch it on the replay, we need to reach out to the city of Little Falls. We need to reach out to their city council. We need to reach out to their city attorney. We need to reach out to their chief of police, and we need to say, wait a minute, a crime happened. A man physically aggressed a mother and a doctor for no reason. She wasn't breaking any laws. She wasn't violating anybody's personal space. She was merely recording, and he made physical contact with her.
Correct.
He didn't just like say, put his hand up. He made physical contact with her. And so for those of you that are watching, like, comment, and share, by the way. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do that. But you need to reach out to, once again, Little Falls in Minnesota and make a demand that Lauren Heffron be charged with simple battery or assault or whatever they want to call it. You don't get to physically aggress an individual simply because you don't like what they're saying or the fact that they're shooting a video. Minnesota is a single party consent state. I do not have to have permission to shoot video of you anywhere at all. If you are in view in a public area, I can record you and do whatever I want with it. And quite frankly, having watched the brief clip and it's available here on the channel, and I'll put it in the link to the description of the video if you haven't seen it yet, the only reason he did what he did was he didn't want the conversation recorded.
Yep.
So sorry, I detracted from you, but I want my audience. I want my audience to demand action. Lauren Heffron needs to be charged with a crime.
Right, and people need to know what's happening. We're just trying to speak the truth, and we're trying to do the right thing. We're trying to follow the rules, and I feel like that's a big problem that's happening. Not just here. Maybe we uncovered things in Morrison County, then maybe people started paying attention throughout the state with certain things. But they've been doing things their own way, I think, for a long time, and no one's ever checked in on them. So now that we're literally following the rules, we're following the Constitution, we're following the Minnesota laws, we're following Robert's Rules of Order, which is what you use at these conventions, and we're being told no, you can't speak, and we're being shushed, and it's wrong. So,
well, let's talk about that for a minute. So this was post convention.
This was the Morrison County convention,
right? So this was after the convention had already taken place at the close, because
this was before, actually. So this was as we were getting ready in the morning. Yes.
Oh, so the assault happened before the convention.
Correct. Yes.
And you guys still went in.
Yes.
And and as everybody's aware, there are a lot of questions, because I put a video out about this as well before I even knew who you were. I put a video out about the apparent shenanigans, possible corruption that was taking place as far as endorsement and whatnot.
Right.
So you go in and you go to speak on behalf of Dr. Neil Shaw.
So I wanted to correct that part. I know I'd heard you speaking the other night. So that was at the caucus. So there was a time where everyone was allowed to speak for somebody, like read off of a piece of paper or something. So then Mandy got up and spoke on behalf of Paul Gazelka. So
this was at the caucus in February.
This was at the caucus in February 1st. Yes.
Okay.
So she got up and spoke about Paul Gazelka, and then she said some things about Neil Shaw. So if you use someone's name, they have a chance to, speak for themselves, and he wasn't there. So I got up to speak on his behalf. I said, if you're going to lie about him, I'm going to stand up and tell you what you said is incorrect. So I got up to do that, and she said, you can't speak. I said, you just spoke, about Paul Gazelka, and you used his name. So he has
Neil Shaw's name.
Himself.
So people are
correct, right.
Again, so people are clear.
Yep. So she used Neil Shaw's name. So I said, I can speak and defend him. No, you can't. And I said, I'm going to speak. And then there were 150 people there. I know there's a lot of people there. And I would say 95% of the people started yelling, let him speak. Because I said, because they said no. And I said, well, how about we take a vote? And I sat down and everyone started shouting, let him speak. So I got to speak. And that's how it works, because it's for the people, and we get to decide what's going on. Not one person, not the chair. It's the caucus is the people. These conventions are the people. The people get to make the rules, not one person or not the party. This is about we the people. So we decided I get to speak. So I stood up and I dispelled what she said and just said my piece. Go ahead.
What specifically did she say that
Well,
was
she spoke
incorrect
to
about
him like where he had donated all this money to Tim Walz and the Democratic Party, and I
which
said,
was
that
not the
was
same Neil Shaw.
right. But there, there was correct, but there was things where people had to go to events. Like if I go to an event, it costs me money to get into an event to talk to somebody. That's not, but then they write it down as a donation, but it's not really a donation. That's just, you need to talk to somebody about something. So, yeah.
So this happened at the caucus. So now you fast forward.
That was at the caucus. Yep.
You're
Okay.
now have been elected as a delegate going
Correct.
forward. So now your first position as a delegate is at the county convention for Morrison County.
Correct.
And this is where the shenanigans start to take place. And it starts with Lauren Heffron assaulting your wife at the beginning when all
Yep.
you're doing is having a very simple conversation. And I want people to understand this. You're having a conversation with the mother of Mandy Heffron,
Yes.
while Lauren Heffron, her father, is watching, assaults your wife before the convention even starts because you're having a conversation about proper rules, ethics, and
Right.
etiquette.
So, and I'll tell you what I was talking about. So in our Constitution, it says that the BPOU chair or anyone on the BPOU cannot, help anyone that has not been endorsed. So they cannot give pre-endorsement funds or speak for anyone pre-endorsement. So they had given $8,000 to Paul Gazelka and like $2,000 to Ron Krisha back in the end of August, I believe. And it's all like, I have all the information. So they gave them that money, and that's, according to our Constitution, that's wrong. So I questioned them about that, and they said, no, we can do that because they were endorsed in the past. They said, that's not what that means. It means you have to wait until they're endorsed, and then you can help that person. So and I said, what happens if I was endorsed back in 1940? Can you give me money because I was endorsed 50 years ago? No, so they're lying, and they're covering up some stuff, and that needs, people need to know that. You can't be helping out people pre-endorsement. That's what they did. And that's what I was questioning them about. And then that's when that happened. So,
yeah. So, man, alive. This is where you were also going to try and get the endorsement at the county convention level for your run for Senate.
Nope. That would have been the Senate level. So at the county convention,
at the district level.
Yep. So we're not there yet. So the county convention was just to elect delegates to go to state. And then, talk about.
Had you announced or even hinted that you were running?
Yes. Yep. So at this time I had announced, yes. So people knew I was running, probably very early February I announced. So, this was a month after that. So people knew I was running, and people knew who I was and things. So, I guess I'll go into where we went in, and, we had a lot of people show up. I spent a lot of time from November through January on the phone, calling everybody that I could to say, if you want change, you need to get out to caucus, you need to show up, you need to have your voice heard. So I was on the phone literally for like 5 or 6 weeks straight before February 1st, every day, talking to people and saying, get out and go to caucus and try to become a delegate if you want change. And we had huge numbers. We had 4 different caucus sites in Morrison County, and they were packed. So we had a lot of people show up. So when we went to the Morrison County convention, we had a lot of support. And they, because of the shenanigans that happened from the caucus, I think, have you talked about how names were taken off lists and stuff before?
Well, no, haven't even got there yet, but since you're there.
Okay.
Let's get to, so people know everybody knows you're running.
Yep.
The party leadership in Morrison County knows you're running.
Right.
Mandy, and just so people know, Mandy is Gazelka's staff. I'm like, she's not just like a titular Gazelka staff. She's literally does work, or at the time did work,
right,
for Paul Gazelka.
Correct. Yes.
Paid staff.
Paid staffer. Yes.
And she's the county chair.
Yep.
And so now her boss is getting money from the county for his campaigns. You've announced to challenge the current favored person who was.
At that time, I was going to run for House, so I was going to challenge Ron Krisha. And then when lines were redrawn, there was no one in this area for Senate. So I decided to run for Senate because we didn't want a person like that running for Senate and being, in power for 4 years. I was hoping to keep them down there and get,
Get him out
someone
in
that
2 years.
get them out in 2 years and have someone that's actually going to work for the people stick around. So
So let's talk. You're talking about Ron Krisha in this situation.
right now I am, yes. Yep.
Yeah. So we don't have to worry about Gazelka anymore because now he's
Right.
just a lobbyist
done it.
as opposed to being a
Right.
lobbyist and a senator.
Yep.
Blows my mind that that's legal.
Right.
Good thing they changed that. So you have Ron Krisha, who was in the House. You were concerned that he was going to run for Senate, so you decided to challenge at that level.
Right.
And so now you've announced this, and so people know, like, because there is some advocacy happening out there where there are people within the Republican Party who are clearly like left of center, who are old guard. They do everything they can to compromise, Gazelka being one of those.
Yep.
But don't worry about the bug. It's summer in Minnesota.
That's right.
And even if it's not summer, it's summer in Minnesota.
That's right.
So you
Old guard.
also are dealing with, I have to say this carefully, Krisha's been elected once before. He holds office now.
Correct. He's been in for 5 terms now. So
Right.
he's
So
looking to be a 6th term
that's
House.
10. That's 10 years.
Correct. Yep.
And his voting record has been predominantly not
Dismal.
conservative.
Right. Correct. He takes votes that are not conservative, and we're
Right.
in a conservative area.
So there are people out there who label everybody who doesn't agree with them a rhino, and that's not what you're doing. You're not saying like Ron Krisha is a rhino just because I say he's a rhino, because I don't agree with him 100% and we're not lockstep on things. Right. He's literally an example of a rhino because he tends to vote, according to our previous conversations, he votes more often with the DFL than he does with the GOP.
Right. Yeah. So he takes those, middle of the road votes. I had talked to him last February, probably of 2020, I don't know, a year and a half ago or so. And, I asked him why he votes the way he does. And he said, well, I'm going to vote the way I want because we don't have enough votes to, for the people. So I just vote the way I want. So he literally just told me he votes like a Democrat and it doesn't matter what his constituents want. I'd rather have the person that is representing me be the only person voting the way I want and losing to show that they're at least fighting for me than just say, I'm just going to vote who I want, So right there, you're saying you're not fighting for me. You're just doing whatever you want. You need to listen to your constituents, not what you want to do and what your buddies want you to do in politics.
What percentage of his votes would you say over the years? And I know that I'm asking for speculation. I'm not asking for a concrete statement, but
I would say I don't know. I can't say years back. I guess myself, along with other people in our community, probably didn't pay a lot of attention for a while because a lot of people think it's a Republican, so they're voting like a Republican. Well, then our community is like kind of falling apart, not just our community, a lot of communities or state. Well, then you start looking at, voting records, and then you kind of figure out, well, that's why, because they're not voting conservative. They're voting to raise taxes, and they're voting for programs that aren't necessarily good for our community. So I would say I was watching this last spring, and there was like a few times there's like 5 votes that were either no vote. That's another thing he does a lot, is not take votes. So if you're not voting, you're voting for the other side. It's just a vote for the other side. You have to stand for your people, or he voted on the Democrat side. So and talking to people, there's people that are frustrated. So we need change on that end, and there's a person running against him, Chuck Perrins, and he's a good guy. So,
and he is running against Krisha in the House.
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
And so you decide, hey, like we've got a good challenger to this. Did Chuck who?
Chuck Perrins.
Chuck
So,
Parents. So
yeah,
Chuck has some pretty solid grassroots, traditional, conservative, libertarian style
yep. He's
credentials.
right. He's a good, hardworking conservative guy. He was military. He likes
Well,
freedom and
let's not throw that out there because Tim
right.
Walz
Well,
is a military
right.
vet
No,
too.
I
So
know, but it's just
no offense to Chuck,
right,
but
right, exactly. He's a hardworking guy who likes freedom, wants to, abide by the Constitution, less government, less taxes, and people can take care of themselves. Let me rephrase that. If people can take care of themselves, they should be able to. Obviously, there are people that need help, but when you have these programs that you just give free stuff away to everybody, and people quit working and they just they get dependent on that. So
right. And I know you know this obviously from having watched a few of my shows. If I look like I'm not paying attention to you, I'm trying to respond to questions as they come in,
oh yeah,
both on the screen here and on my phone. So I'm watching both. Um, I said when I had Neil on Monday night, I need a showrunner,
right.
and nobody wants to take it because the salary is very abysmal. So so you said, okay, I'm going to let Chuck step in and challenge Krisha.
Yep.
And by the way, let's get Chuck on here. So if you have connections, let's get Chuck on. So Chuck is challenging. Did he get a primary endorsement, or did he get an endorsement at the convention?
No, so if we want to go to that, we're kind of jumping around a little bit, but we can go to the endorsing convention.
I'm very good at that, by the way.
Yep, that's fine. I just said that to keep it in my mind, so if I have to come back to talk about something, that I remember that. So we go to the endorsing convention, and I think there was like 245 some odd people. I had called people that I knew that were going, because I had been in contact with these people for months, and I think I had like 105 people confirmed that I knew from Morrison County. So that's potentially 105 people for myself and him. And then I had people in other parts of the district that were on my side. I can't say for certain how many people, but I know a lot of people like what I had to say. So we started off with the Senate and speeches. Gave my speech. There was a third person, Brent Lindgren, gave his speech. He has dropped out since then. And then Jim Newberger, who actually just moved into the district because he wants to be a politician and not.
So wait a minute. This is
Yeah.
You can't spring this kind of information on me at the last. You didn't tell me this leading up to that.
Oh, you didn't know about Jim Newberger? Yeah.
So when did Newberger enter the district? Not the race. When did he enter the district?
About 3 weeks ago. So you have to be here. So he got in like right at the last minute. You have to be in 6 months before
ahead
November.
Of the election.
Right. Yep. So
you went to the endorsing convention.
Yep.
To run for Senate.
Yep.
Announced for Senate. Right?
Yep.
Along with this other individual who has subsequently dropped out.
Yep.
So I don't know what his credentials were, but I'm just going to assume, okay, maybe
it just wasn't going to work out for him. So
yeah,
he dropped.
So you're the two of you go into the endorsing convention, walk out no endorsement.
Yeah, well, it was myself. As far as Senate, it was myself, Brent, and Newberger trying to get the Senate endorsement.
But when was the Senate? When was the endorsing convention?
I'm sorry, the SD10 convention was April 1st. So
had Newberger moved into the district by then?
He had not moved yet. He didn't have to move yet. So he lives in Becker. He still has a house in Becker. I'll give you the backstory on this real quick. And I was going to send you a link, and I'll have to do that. So last year he had said that he has to stay in Becker in Sherburne County and represent his people because Sherburne County is turning purple, so he needed to stay there to keep it red. So he said he's going to stay there and represent his community. Well, then when lines got redrawn, he decided, oh, there's no one in Senate District 10, so I'm going to move there and try to be a senator. So then he went out and gave a speech somewhere and said, oh, my wife and I have been planning on moving to Benton County for over a year, and we've been looking at land, and we're going to build a house. So we're either going to move in April 30th or the 1st of May, and we're going to move up there. And this was, 5 months after he said he needs to stay in Sherburne County, and he can't move because he has to save Sherburne County and the community he's been in for 30 years. So he says he's going to move to Benton County, and then on his campaign website, it says he has a Malacca address. So that's not in Benton County, that's in Mille Lacs. So I went over there to see if he actually moved. He did. So he's living in a church parking lot. He's living in a parsonage for a church, which seems pretty fishy. So he didn't buy land and build a house.
Is he a pastor?
No, he's not. So
okay, I'm gonna do this right now. I don't care.
Yep.
You know how I am. I said this with Neil. I've said this with others. What's the name of that church?
You know what? I don't know.
Okay, so anybody watching right now, send the message right here. Find out, because I have Eric is watching and MJ is watching, and you guys are research gurus. I know this for a fact. Let's get what city is that in?
Malacca.
Let's find out what this church is. And obviously Nate's working on it too. So he took up residence in a church parsonage. There
Yes.
again, if the church wants to give him a place to live because he's destitute, but I have a funny feeling Jim Newberger's not destitute.
Right. So that's
wow.
Yeah. So now, now he can say, I just moved in. I have this address.
So is he living in the house, or does he have a camper in the parking lot?
No, it's a house. There's a house.
Wow.
But so I went over there to see if he was there. His wife answered the door. I just wanted to see if they were there, and she was there. He wasn't there. So then he called me back and wanted to know why I stopped by. I said, I just wanted to see if you actually, moved and you were carpetbagging, and they did.
This sounds shady as Hades.
Yeah. So no, he doesn't represent this area.
He's not from your area.
Right. He's from the cities, and he lived in Becker and worked in the cities. He was a rep. He was a house rep for a while and represented some of Benton County and like Southern Morrison and whatever. But
he currently still holds office.
No. He stopped. The last time he was in House was in 2018. So.
And Newberger's record prior to losing that seat or not having that seat anymore, I
think he just stopped. So he started out looking good, and then the last two terms, I can't remember the website. You can look at voting records and who grades them, but his bell curve just kind of started to go down. So he signed on to a 1,000-page omnibus bill, which we know that omnibus bills are bad in themselves, but when they're 1,000 pages long and they're full of who knows how many different things,
I just prefer to call them ominous.
Yes. Garbage.
The very ominous bill.
Right. And that, and in that one, there was the thing where taxpayer money was used for abortions. We can't have abortions, but we definitely can't be using taxpayer money for abortions. So I brought that up, and he's refuted it by saying, I didn't know that money was going to be used for abortions. Well, if you don't know what you're voting on and you don't know how to do your job while you're there, while you're doing that, you obviously know that money was going to be appropriated if you're in a certain tax bracket. And
let's just get down to the nitty gritty on this. Nate, do you prefer Nate or Nathan?
Either one's fine.
Right. So let's get down to this fully bearded one.
That's right.
I feel less a man when I'm on screen with fully bearded guys. Let's just put this out there. Where was he living before he moved into this parsonage?
He was in Becker, so Sherburne County. So
Sherburne County.
So
which
the southern end of Sherburne County. So
which
south
is
of
how
here.
which is how close to the Twin Cities.
So Becker is 45 minutes, I suppose.
So I mean driving distance.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Yep.
He changed his locale to move into a predominantly red district.
Yes.
With a ever weakening voting record.
Yes.
But that's not the worst of it. If everybody thought the bad part was the fact that Jennifer was assaulted by Lauren Heffron at the county convention, that's not the worst of it. The worst of it is Neuberger has lied to you, and you have evidence of this.
Correct.
And I'm going to throw this out here, and Nate won't be surprised because I told him I was going to do this. Mr. Neuberger, if you'd like to refute anything at all that Nate is saying, my platform is open to you. I know in your eyes I'm a nobody, but guess what? I'm kind of gaining traction right now. My channel's growing. I've gained over 1,000 subscribers in just the last 2 weeks. So people are paying attention to this. So Jim, right? That's his name?
Yes. Yep.
Jim, if you want to come on here and you want to destroy Nate's argument, one-on-one, I'll give you my platform. Did I tell you I would do that, Nate?
Yep.
So here it is, Jim, because I know you're going to watch this and you're going to look for ways to tear this down. Come on here, give a defense for your actions, give a defense for your voting record. But I want answers too, because you've lied about Nathan Wesenberg. Am I saying your last name right?
Wesenberg.
Okay.
Like Wheezy.
Wesenberg.
Wesenberg.
You're very Scandinavian, aren't you?
Wesenberg is German, but I've got some Polish and Swedish and
I was gonna say that's very Swedish. Yeah. Almost it's German name, but it sounds very Swedish.
Yeah, actually, there's a Wesenberg Castle in Germany, so yeah, it's fun.
So,
well, if you want to speak to the lie you're speaking of,
let's talk about the lies, because
he was telling people that so I've got this recorded and I've got other people recorded telling me about it. Apparently, he was telling people I was drinking beer and ice fishing, which is a fact. I had a beer while I was ice fishing, and I was in a house.
Well, you're a Minnesotan, so
we were staying overnight.
We ice fish in July.
That's right. So I did drink a beer in a fish house, and that particular picture was from probably February 2nd or 3rd before I had announced.
Let's address what he actually lied about. He lied and said that you were using campaign funds to get people to take pictures with you.
Right. So, well, no, he said to buy a fish house or to rent a fish house and buy alcohol. At this time, I hadn't even announced, and I hadn't even raised 1 penny for campaigning because I hadn't announced yet. So that's a lie. I was just fishing. So that's one lie. And then he was telling people that I wasn't, I'm a bad father and I'm not.
He made accusations that you were abusing your children.
Yes, to that extent. So then I had people calling me and saying, well, you're in a fish house drinking beer and using these funds, and I heard that you're not a good father and I shouldn't have my kids around you. I'm like, what are you talking about? So I called up Jim and I confronted him about it, and I recorded the conversation, and he's like, yeah, no, I'll have people stop doing that, and I'll tell people to stop saying that. So he admitted it. I've got the recording. I'll give it to you, and you can
and we'll put it up, and we'll put that recording up on my Subscribestar, which is a plug for TC, by the way. We will make that recording available when we can. We can figure out the logistics of it. We'll make the recording of that conversation available on my Subscribestar for my paid subscribers, so that people can hear this. These are the lengths that the rhinos will go to, the old guard will go to try and discredit anybody who's coming from a conservative base. And once again, I'm going to throw it out there. I can disagree with a fellow conservative. I can absolutely disagree with a fellow conservative. You might have a different view on when life begins when it comes to the abortion issue. I can disagree with you on that. and still consider you an ally in the fight for life.
Right.
So I'm not the person out there like, you have to agree with me lockstep, otherwise I'm going to call you a rhino. That's not me. Like, if you don't want to vote for Scott Jensen, that's on you. I'm not going to tell you have to, or you're a traitor. But I'm also not going to tell a person who says, like, we don't have any options right now. We've got to vote for Scott Jensen. So there are people out there saying, "Oh, they've said this to me," and I'm sure you've probably heard this. You're a rhino if you're going to support Scott Jensen in this election. Like, no, that's not what a rhino is.
Right.
That's not what this is about. Jim has demonstrated tendencies to drift to the left, to play to the DFL, which is completely leftist, and has abandoned his base, and he's been lying about his opponent, and neither one of them has the endorsement, correct?
Yeah, so nobody's endorsed. So that's, we have to go to the primary. There's no endorsement. And that's I'm running because I want to speak for the people and make change and do what's good, and call out the lies and call out people that, aren't representing people and not doing good things. I want to get elected, but it's also good to, just speak for people and make change and have people's voices heard. I feel people like him are, they're running because they want to be a politician first and only maybe, and it's about the prestige and, oh, look what I did. I'm going to do what's right because the people tell me what to do. I ask people, what do you want? And that's what we do. I'm a conservative, so small government, less taxes, take care of yourself if you can and be a good person and treat other people like you want to be treated.
And you're a constitutionalist.
Yes, exactly. We need to follow the Constitution. And I'll say another thing. I was the first person to announce. So I was the only one running for a while. So another argument I've heard from people is, well, why are you doing this? Because it's bad for the party. Well, if you're going to say that, then tell this to my opponents who got in after me.
After you, yes,
after
absolutely.
Me. I was the first one in. So if you're going to say that, you tell them that they should drop out or get frustrated at them, because I'm not a bad person for the party. I'm a good person for the party because I'm going to do what's right for the people, and I'm not.
It's a brand new Senate
politics,
seat.
Right? Yeah,
it's a brand new Senate seat. You were the first to announce. Mandy Heffron screwed up the endorsing convention. It was almost so ineptly handled that, dare I say, it looks like it might have been intentional. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Because the evidence seems to, but they investigated themselves. And just like when law enforcement and the military investigate themselves, of course, we found out that they did nothing wrong.
Right.
Because they say they did nothing wrong. You walk out without an endorsement, all of the old guard money and all of the old guard support is going to Neuberger.
Yep.
And you're being painted out as a radical. Yep. And worse still, to discredit you, they attacked your wife.
Right. Yeah. And
so you're
physically attacked, right?
Not just the physical aspect, but like her character, because
we can speak to that too.
You married up. Let's just be honest. She's far more attractive.
No, she's so lucky.
she's far more attractive than you, and she's clearly smarter than you. So how you manage this, I don't know. But your wife is an actual doctor, not like a philosophical, like handed an honorary doctorate by some university somewhere. She's got a doctorate that she earned.
Right. Yeah. Lots of hard work. Forever education, and once you become a doctor, you're always learning. That's why it's called practice also, because you're always learning new things.
So she gave up a career, and they've attacked her.
Right. So I'll tell about that. So my wife was working at Centricare, and she's trying to help people. She's trying to do the right thing. We're watching the COVID stuff happened, and we know it's all money, power, and BS. And, there's people that are losing their jobs, losing their livelihoods. Everybody knows that. So there's no doctor signing medical exemptions. So Jenny it's up to, it's between a patient and their doctor what is best for the patient. If the patient doesn't want to take a shot that is being forced on them and they think they're going to die, they shouldn't have to. So Jenny was signing exemptions so people didn't have to take the shot. Same thing with masks. She was signing exemptions so people didn't have to wear a mask. And Centricare doesn't like that because, these big hospitals are turning into just big business that seem to care less about patients and more about money. And as a matter of fact, University of Minnesota, you can look this up, is now teaching not like single patient care, but community healthcare. No, it's not. Healthcare isn't about community. Yes, we want everyone to be safe, but every single person is important, and everybody needs to be looked at as an important person. So she ended up quitting there a couple months ago because she's standing up for people and their rights and their freedoms and their medical freedom. So
she wasn't fired.
Right. She quit.
She wasn't placed on administrative leave.
No.
She made a conscientious decision to stand on her principles.
Yes.
As a doctor, and they have now impugned her character.
Correct.
And said she was fired basically for misconduct.
Right. That was this is someone made a Nathan Wesenberg hate page, which is funny. I'm finding out all kinds of things about myself I didn't know existed. So they posted on there that my wife was fired and she's going to lose her medical license and all this baloney. And that's all it is. So, the fire settled down a little bit recently, but for a while I was getting phone calls and emails and things every day and, hate mail. And that none of that really bothers me because it's just a bunch of crap and we just got to keep fighting. So.
And ladies and gentlemen, the reason why this is important is that one of the things that the GOP is constantly forcing down our throats, the grassroots traditional conservatives, the rocks and cows individuals, is that we got to abide by endorsements. Like, let's go back to the convention 2 weeks ago, and I'm going to say 2 weeks ago, even though it's only been a week and 6 days. But let's go back to 2 weeks ago. We have to abide by the endorsement. Whoever walks out of here with the endorsement, all the gubernatorial candidates need to get behind it. Because if you don't, we're going to waste money, we're going to waste time, we're going to waste resources, yada, yada, yada. But when we look around the entire state of Minnesota, whether at Senate races or House races, we have men like Kurt Daudt and others who are actively campaigning for unendorsed candidates against endorsed candidates. Mark Bishofsky is a perfect example of that. Mark has been endorsed, and the party has told him, we will not support you. Mark said that on my show just a few weeks ago, that the party told him they will not endorse him after we've been preached at to follow whatever the endorsement is at the gubernatorial level. And what I'll tell people is if we have a strong Senate and we have a strong House and we swing those two red, I don't give a good gosh darn. I almost swore. I don't give a good gosh darn who the governor is. If we have a strong red Senate and a strong red House, the governor has no power.
Right.
We could silence the governor. But boy, we better abide by that endorsement. While Kurt Daudt in the House, and you see right now the House minority leader, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Telling people, I'm going to challenge endorsed candidates. I'm going to challenge not endorsed, but current incumbents like Eric Mortensen.
Right.
And others. I mean, they pulled funding from Eric in his election. And he was endorsed.
Yeah.
And they've done the same now with Mark Bishofsky and others. So, and everybody knows, I'm not like this one of those who's out there going, how do I want to say this? Like, everybody who doesn't agree with me is a rhino. Like we're going to have some disagreements. I'm sure if you and I sat down and talked long enough, there'd probably be some place where we would disagree.
Right. Well, obviously people need to know rhino is Republican in name only. So if we're calling someone a rhino, it's because they're making a good portion of Democratic votes. So they're
Nathan Miller
party.
pointed this out on Saturday, that the guy that he's running against, Jordan, is I think his voting record has been predominantly DFL.
Yeah, that's not how a Republican Party should be. And I was having this conversation, with Jenny the other day. I feel like maybe some of these people just thought they could run as Republicans and get elected, and they're soft Democrats. They see openings and they get in because they like guns, so they stand for the Second Amendment, and they're anti-abortion, so they get in on that. But then their other stuff is to the left.
So, I wish Jenny could come on because I think she'd have an interesting perspective.
She's in here.
Is she sitting in a room with you? She's going, no,
right. No, she's in the other room trying to keep the kids from running in here, I think.
Well, this is a professional show, so kids
right,
are
no
a great
kids.
interruption.
Right.
I don't know. Earlier tonight, somebody told me I have a joke of a show, even though they don't know what my show's called. And literally, they challenged me on something. I said, hey, come on my platform and if I'm so wrong, embarrass me publicly on my own platform in a live stream. And their response was, well, it's probably just a stupid platform or show anyway, so I don't know why I would bother.
Right.
And I'm like, well, have you heard of it before? No. I'm like, well, then how do you know it's illegitimate? So anyway, well, so Jennifer says, I'm listening. And MJ says, bring in Jenny. And, MJ has volunteered to be my showrunner, but I don't know how to make that work with StreamYard. So I'm afraid to give her my login credentials because I'm afraid she'll schedule a bunch of do-it-yourself house up improvement kind of stuff on my channel.
Yeah, she'd start showing people how to use a Cricut. Yeah, it's for making T-shirts and stuff.
Yep. And Jenny laughing in the background. In the background. I'm like, yeah. If anybody wants Jenny on, you have to do a super chat, and we'll bring Jenny in. We need at least a $5 super chat, and if we get a $5 super chat, we'll force Jenny to come on the show. Yes, Jenny, I'm talking to you right now. So I want to shift a little bit, but I want people to point out to understand what I'm pointing out here. Look, the old guard is clinging tenaciously to what they see as their power, what they see as their inherent right. Hey, Jenny said it, $5 super chat, and she will come on. So we're just gonna leave that up there until somebody gives us a $5 super chat. My friend Julie, she's got a lot of money, so. The old guard is clinging. The old guard is clinging. Hey, I got this. I am a professional. The old guard is clinging to this tenaciously, and they only want their approved candidates in. And they're going to do anything they can, even smearing the wives of the candidates or the husbands of the candidates. Tomorrow, I've got AJ Kern coming on the show. AJ is a traditional conservative running for the DFL endorsement just to unseat Ilhan Omar. She knows she doesn't have for lack of better terminology, in the grand scheme of things, with Ilhan Omar serving the district that she serves, AJ Kern doesn't stand a snowball's chance in HE double toothpicks of getting an actual endorsement from a leftist organization like the DFL. But it's opening up a door for her to be able to bring out into the light the wickedness of Ilhan Omar. The problem is that while we've got people like you and AJ and others, we do not have enough people in the GOP who are willing to tackle these things and kick these moderate leftists out of the party. Instead, we platform and end up losing a strong representative like Jeremy Munson. And I know there are people that disagree with him. I understand. I'm not arguing that. But Jeremy Munson's been labeled a rhino by people. And there have been people who have labeled him that. And then other people, because they respect the people that are labeling Jeremy Munson a rhino, are out there going, oh, he must be a rhino because people said he is. Well, maybe you don't agree with everything that Jeremy says. But look what we have now. Because the old guard stepped in and put in a Brad Finstad, who, by the way, his only claim to any credentials at all has been Trump appointed me to something. And when
Trump also fired a lot of people.
Right. And so when you claim Finstad, when you claim that Finstad is the conservative in the movement, and you fail to bring Jeremy Munson on, and Jen Carnahan is on that ticket, we've got a problem. And the only reason that Jen Carnahan ended up getting booted out of her position as a party chair in the state of Minnesota was because the Rocks and Cows traditional conservative base demanded that the Central Committee do something, and she still walked away with a fat paycheck after that. So we have a problem, and it's guys like you, Nate, that are really doing the yeoman's work of changing that. So what we have happening right now, so Jenny had better be made up for TV, because MJ kicked in $2 and another $2, and I don't know who Scott is, but Scott likes you, and he kicked in another $2 or $1.02. So we are at $5. So Jenny, your turn to come on. You said it right here, $5 super chat, and I'll come on. We've reached the $5.
Come on, Jenny.
So
she's coming.
She's coming. So let me ask you, while Jenny's preparing herself to be a star, because once you come on my show, you are going to break
That's
into the greatness.
Hollywood.
Yeah, you are Hollywood all the way. I'm glad you have a sense of humor. Once
I'm here.
She's here.
Hello.
Hello, doctor.
I can't hear though.
Oh. Do you want her to take the headphones and sit, or what do we want? What do we want to do?
Have her stay there for a second, and then we'll have her come in.
Okay.
I'm going to ask this question, and then I want you to contemplate the answer while I have Jenny come on.
Okay.
What sets you apart from your opponents? I don't want you to do what they would do, which is to talk about all the bad things that they've done. I want you to talk about the what's good in you, in the sense of your values and your positions that make you right. Not just because it's not just about District 10. It's about what's for the greater good of the entire state of Minnesota. And ultimately, as we look at this, how this could impact the entire upper Midwest, the Midwest, and other areas. What is good about you? Now give the headset to your wonderful wife, who's there again. I don't know how she can be so smart and still have married you. So.
What
All right.
am I doing?
You're going to sit down and talk and let me know when I got to come back.
Okay, hold on.
I'm sure he needed to go use the bathroom. So
I'm sure, or crack another adult beverage or something.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I have no idea.
Nope.
I went out for dinner before this, so I have no idea what you're talking about, Jenny. Thank you for coming on at the last second. And now
I was not prepared to be in the spotlight today. So.
Well, no, it's actually that's perfectly fine, because I like catching people off guard.
Thanks.
Thank you for doing this. Two, Lauren Heffern had no right to do what he did to you, and I want him held accountable.
So I don't think Nate had mentioned this. I was kind of listening in and out because you have children. I have many hats, including my Let's Go Brandon hat. So we also attempted to file a restraining order against him. I mean, they happily took my money to file said restraining order. And then rejected it. But then they said that they couldn't do it for whatever reason. But, it would have been nice if we could have done that, because just he would lurk in the back of conventions, and he made threatening, like statements towards Nate when we were at some of the conventions, like, are you going to come on, or watch what you say, and things like that. So it was frustrating. Was I scared? No. But was it appropriate? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I've seen him, and your husband is about twice his size, and so, I mean, I'm not a small guy, but I'm easily twice the guy's size.
Right. Well, and if you see,
I'm not a big
video,
guy. I used to be a big guy. I'm half the man I used to be, but anyway.
If you see in the video, Nate is even standing with his hands behind his back.
Yep.
Even,
I'm glad you pointed that out, because I don't know if you saw, I changed the title of the video, by the way.
Nate told me that. I didn't see that you changed the title, but he did tell me that you changed the title.
I did change the title. In fact, I changed it again today to make it even more powerful. Mother and Dr. Jennifer Wesenberg aggressed by toxically masculine old guard Lauren Heffron. So, well, let's be honest. That's what happened. And by the way, Michelle says, Jenny, you are so gorgeous. Super mama, my hero.
Oh, thanks, love.
I know you guys talked today, so.
We did.
You have a good ally there. So he had no right to do what he did to you. You weren't doing anything wrong. But I want to address something here, and I won't keep you for too long, because I know that if we keep you for too long, your house will descend into chaos. And,
it's already there. Let's be real. It's already there.
Well, I hear the parakeets in the background.
There's one parakeet and one cockatiel, and 2 chinchillas, and a bunch of guinea pigs, and 3 dogs. That's it.
Holy crow.
Oh, and fish.
That's what happens when you marry a wildlife biologist.
No, they're all my fault.
They're all your fault.
Minus the dogs. All the other pets are my fault.
Yeah. I'm a big fish guy. I used to manage a pet store, so. You are a doctor.
Yes.
You are a university-educated, board-certified doctor.
Family medicine doctor, yes.
Family medicine doctor.
Yep.
You had made some personal decisions based on your convictions and your values that you were not going to get behind some of the things that were happening over the last 2 years. And you have received, because your husband has made the decision to run for office, you've received some slanderous and libelous accusations against you, that you were being fired, that you were insubordinate. And Nate mentioned that you might be considering starting your own clinic.
I am. I'm in the process of working with another patriot woman up in Brainerd, Baxter area, Dr. Lelku. We've been talking back and forth. If that doesn't fall through, she's going to help me open up my own practice. Otherwise, I'll franchise off of her. And she was in a similar situation where just things weren't jiving and needed to break off on her own. I am 100% for a legal term called patient autonomy, which is I give you the information and you as my patient makes the decision for you. Whereas kind of the culture right now everywhere is we have to push a certain vaccine, for example.
We call it the jab.
The jab. And I really struggle with that, because it may not be for everybody, and you do have the choice one way or another. And as soon as I got hired on, I was asked, have you gotten vaccinated? And I said no. And they're like, well, you should. And I said, well, where's my autonomy? Oh, that doesn't matter. Your autonomy doesn't matter. I'm like, yes, it does. So, I'm very thankful for the time I was there, because I worked off some non-compete time from a previous place I was employed. And now I'm able to open up a clinic here in Little Falls, which is definitely our home. Nate grew up here in Little Falls. His mom lives with us. We've lived in this home now for over almost 9 years now. So, this is home for us, and this is where I want to be. And I have many, many people. In fact, just a patient today messaged me. She's like, Jenny, when are you opening a clinic? I need to, get in with you. I'm like, I'll let you know as soon as it happens. But,
So what's
it takes,
holding you up right now?
there's a lot to
You're
go
still
on with
licensed.
that.
You're still licensed. You're
Yep,
still
I still
certified by the board.
I'm 100% able to go with up and everything. But there's, like I said, I'm working with another provider right now, and she's working through her legal, and she's working with her billers and coders, and she's working with, there's a whole backside that we need to get okayed and approved.
Bureaucratic morass, because the government has to have it. Excuse me, I violated my own law. The state, I hate calling we're the government.
Right.
The state has to have its freaking fingers in everything. And,
right.
And so
there's
so you're not a crackpot, though. You're not like out there telling people that like all jabs are bad and no one should get them.
I am very much for childhood vaccinations, very much for that. But the COVID vaccine,
we say the coof. Don't say that other word.
I'm so sorry.
You're trying to get me taken down?
I'm sorry. So anyway, it's not a vaccine like the other vaccines, because even if you read the information, the jab, it decreases your symptoms and likelihood for hospitalization and death. It doesn't say anything about your likelihood to catch it. It doesn't say your likelihood to spread it. So with that, I'm a 38-year-old gal. I have really no health problems except, I gained some weight during, lockdown and everything like everybody else. I could afford to lose some weight. But other than that, I don't have any fancy doctor word comorbidities or health problems that put me at higher risk.
Hey, I am not a fancy doctor, and I know what comorbidity is.
Well, this is how I talk to my patients. I don't like to use words that they don't necessarily know, which is why people like me, because I don't talk down to them. I talk to them like they're real people, because they are.
I talk down to everybody. I'm pretty confident.
Well, yeah, I gathered that.
I'm a guy, so.
You're a dude.
Yeah. So here's what I'm going to tell you, Jenny. When you get this up and running, I want to have you on, just like I had my friend Laura Rear on.
Okay.
And we did several part conversation, but I'd like to have you on, do a live stream with you, talk about your business, and I would like to advocate for you and promote your business for your area, as well as in the same way that I promote Laura, because I really do want to platform medical practitioners who are out there, who have legitimate doctorates, who are, like my friend Laura's got a doctorate and she's a nurse practitioner. And I'd like to be able to point people to you, even if they have to travel, because that's the thing I'm running into here in the state of Minnesota right now. People will drive.
People do that. Yeah.
Yep. They'll drive to just have that personal autonomy when it comes to their own healthcare, and to have informed consent, because they're sick and tired of being harassed when they walk into their local clinic, wherever it might be. Like I live in the Mayo bubble. You can't go to a clinic in my area in anywhere in Southeast Minnesota that doesn't fall into that Mayo bubble, whether it be Olmsted Medical or Mayo Clinic and their stuff, without them, for the most part going, you need to get a test, you need to wear a facial covering, and we're going to ask you 5,000 times if you want the jab.
Right.
Over and over
I
again.
had patients, before I left my previous place of employment, they found their way to me through people that knew of me and how I ran things. And, there were young people, they had no reason, to get the shot. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, even if you have all these comorbidities, you don't want it, you don't need it. That's your decision. But anyway, a young person, younger than me, had been having daily health problems, should have been to the doctor a long time ago, but he refused to come to any doctor except me, because he was afraid that somebody was going to look down on him or speak down to him, or spend the entire time talking about the jab rather than his actual health problems.
So I just want people to hear you. Is your license in jeopardy? Have they tried to take it from you? Has anybody
Nope.
threatened that?
Nope.
So
My
the
license
rumor,
has never been an issue. I
right?
saw that hate page that Nate was talking about, and I was in contact with. I'm not going to name drop. I was in contact with somebody that was following that page that had some authority. And I said, look, this is on here. It's complete slander. I can take people to court. I can take you down because you're associated with this, because he's in some place of authority. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. Within minutes, it was modified. And I'm like, look, this needs to go away completely because it still has my name in it. If you look back in the Facebook like history, edit history, it's still there. It needs to go away completely. So
I don't know if you've watched much of my stuff, but I'm gonna push you a little bit there. Name drop the hell out of this person. I'm
Dan
okay with that.
Dan Johnson, he was the BPOU chair. Currently is.
I love you. You have my support. You're just like, okay, fine. If you want to, I'll name it.
If you want it.
There it is, ladies
he's
and gentlemen.
the BPOU chair of Benton County currently, and he has been following this hate page. So I'm like, Dan, you have some authority over people, even if this isn't you. We don't know.
It's political party authority, but these people are political. They're Republicans who sponsored this hate page, and you're following it.
Right. It looks bad.
So if you're not following it to discredit it and argue against it, it can only be seen as endorsing it.
Right.
So Dan, you and I are friends here on Facebook. I didn't send you the friend request. You sent me the friend request. I remember that. I would like an explanation for that.
Right. So
did the page go away?
The page exists, but that post is now gone because I'm like, look, this needs to go away. Well, yeah, that post completely is gone.
What's the name of the page? And I know it sounds weird to ask since it has been smearing you.
Yeah.
But it's a hate page, so I'd really like to get my friends and supporters and people who support you. Let's go just inundate the crap out of them with the truth.
It's been pretty silent actually, but I check it every once in a while. It's something like Wesenberg for Senate, Neil Shaw, Action for Liberty, something. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but
well, you send me the link and we'll add it into the description of this video at some point.
I can do that.
So when you're ready to go, you
I can go find Nate again.
Yeah, when you're ready to get up and running with your own personal practice away from the clinic, you let me know.
I will absolutely do. I would happily do that. We'll do a meeting in my office, and you can see more than my Four Seasons porch wall. So,
well, yeah. You can be in your office. I'm not driving to you because
that's fine. Technology is an amazing thing.
No one can afford to drive from my corner of Minnesota to your corner of Minnesota right now, and I'd probably get arrested for crossing some sort of weird boundary. So,
well, considering it's not coffee in your coffee cup, probably shouldn't drive right now either. So
I'm not. No, I'm not. I have no idea what you're talking about. You better go get that.
Coffee.
Yeah, it is coffee. I'm drinking coffee at 8:43 at night.
Well, I do that honestly. So
you better get that.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, he's on the phone. He's probably talking to important people.
He does that a lot, actually.
I'm sure.
So I will be in touch with you. I will find that hate page for you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I'll give you back to the man of the hour.
Thank you, Jenny.
All right.
Did we interrupt a very important phone call?
Well, after this interview, I had like 15 missed calls, so it's good.
You're like, well, your campaign is ruined. You just went on with TC. So,
yeah, no.
Hey, I had Neil Shawn and Spike Cohen. So, I mean, you're in good company.
Yeah. So you had asked me about
what makes you what qualifies you as a candidate?
So I like
this
to
position.
Tell people, I guess, about myself because they don't know, and to get them to where I am. So, I was born and raised in Little Falls, and
You're not carpet begging.
I'm not carpet begging. I was born and raised here. I did go to St. Cloud State, so I was down in St. Cloud for a while and came back here. I was born and raised here too. My mom and dad were hardworking, and we did not have a lot of money. So I was just taught to appreciate things, small things. You don't have to have money to be happy. You just have to have family, and that's what matters. So I was taught to work hard, be a good person, treat other people as you'd like to be treated, and that's who I am, and that's what I believe in. So recently I see what's going on with COVID and with my children, and I worked for the DNR for probably 3 years, I think. Yeah, so I worked for the DNR for 3 years. I saw how not good the government operates, and one of the reasons I quit was because I felt like I could do more for people not working for them, because if you work for an organization, you can't speak out against them because you're not going to have a job for very long. So there came a point in time where I just stopped.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I didn't even speak out against my organization, and they decided to get rid of me. So I'm like, who cares?
So I quit working for the DNR, and then and also with Jenny's job, it was hard to manage, me working 40 hours a week and her working 60, 70 hours a week with kids and things. So I stopped working there. I started working at a farm. A friend of mine owns a farm east of Camp Ripley. So I did that full time for probably 4 or 5 years outside of Little Falls here, milking and that, whatever you do on a farm. Well,
you are a wildlife biologist.
So I am. So I'm a wildlife biologist. So I have a degree in wildlife biology. So for the last starting in 2004, I want to say, I started working at Camp Ripley as a volunteer doing wildlife research. As I was
spend most of your time studying drunk National Guard soldiers.
Right. Yeah. No. Right. They always ask me what I'm doing. So out there we have collared bear, collared deer, collared timber wolves. I would track them. I've caught 5 golden eagles out there. So we trap the golden eagles. They winter here, and then we're just trying to figure out where they migrate to. So they winter here, and a lot of them are migrating as far north as north of the Arctic Circle on the Arctic Ocean. So that's cool. So that's what I like to do. I like to be outside and studying and doing science and things. So
I think this is all very important, because one of the accusations that Newberger leveled against you is that you're basically a load that sits at home and does nothing.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that's what he said. He doesn't even have a job.
Oh, thanks. So no, I do that. So when I quit working at Camp Ripley, I was working at I was farming, but I've also volunteered at when I quit working for the DNR in Brainerd, I started farming, and then I've been volunteering at Camp Ripley for 20 years. So I've got 14,000 volunteer hours at Camp Ripley, just because that's important to me and that's what I like to do. I still, to this day, I work out there, except for minus 2 years because of the COVID restrictions that Tim Walz put in place. I can't work outside by myself on 54,000. Oh, the C word. I'm sorry.
The coof. We say the coof.
The coof. Okay, let me write that down.
Trying to kill me? What are you doing?
So
I got to go check now. You just keep talking. I got to see if they demonetize this one yet. Just keep talking.
I couldn't work outside by myself on 54,000 acres because of the coof. So, but also
boy, that is social distancing to the utmost.
Right. But I still couldn't do it. Right. Yeah. So I have my own wildlife company, so that they hire me as a private contractor to work out at camp to catch eagles and do some of these things, but I still volunteer my time out there because I enjoy that, and do other side jobs.
So you have a portion of it is paid, and another portion of it is volunteer.
Correct. Yes. So that's that. So I'm a hard worker. It took me 11 years to get through college because I had some things that everybody goes through stuff. So I had to stop going to college for a few years and pay off some loans and things. So I up to 3 jobs at a time. I'd get up at 3 a.m. I'd deliver bread. I'd go work at Westside Liquor. I'd go work at, I worked at G. Allen's, go to bed and get up 3 hours later and do it again. And just, nonstop did that for a long time because I had to pay bills. I don't want to work 3 jobs nonstop forever, but, I had to get some of that stuff taken care of, and I did. Then
I don't
got
even
my
want to work
degree.
one job nonstop.
All right, I know. So I did that. So, so I'm saying I'm a hard worker. So why am I running? So I'm a hard worker. I appreciate hard work. But life isn't about, money and power and prestige. It's about doing the right thing. So when I see, my kids, what happened with my kids when the schools got shut down, they're waving at me right now too. They're crying because they couldn't go to school, and they were sad because they couldn't see their friends, all because of, some fake thing that happened. And I started talking about COVID when it first happened, saying that as a scientist, I understand science. Back in 2009, when H1N1 happened, it spread worldwide in 3 months. And what did we do? We did nothing. So this virus spread worldwide in 3 months, and we didn't do anything about it. So
Well,
COVID did the same thing.
The irony is that the H1N1 protocols that were put in place in 2009 were the exact same protocols that were implemented for the COOF, and nothing changed. Even though H1N1 was actually a deadlier, by per capita, a deadlier infection than the COOF has proven to be.
Right. So without going into all the stuff we know about the COOF, our kids were out of school, and they were not happy, and not just my kids, all kids need to be around other kids and having fun, and we can't be hurting them this way. So that, that made me mad, and that's wrong. And what Jenny being in the medical field, I saw what was going on with all this, and knowing it was a bunch of BS because of the way things were happening. You can't force someone to do something that they don't want to do with their body. I started saying this is wrong and we got to push back. So back in October last year, I started a group in Little Falls, and we just got together to decide what we're going to do to, make change. And the very first meeting I had, I started out with asking people, what do we need to do? I think some people came thinking that I had all the solutions and had all the answers, and I don't, because we need to work together and need to figure out how to take this on. I mean, I can do things, but we need to talk to each other and find out what's wrong. So I asked people, what are you most concerned about? So you tackle what is most concerning to people. And at that time, and still it's our children in the community. We've got CRT in schools. It might not be called that, but it's here. We've got, I'm not going to go into a lot into background in this, but we got Sourcewell, which they're an NGO, and they help people with money. But if you go to their website, it says we have to quit using words like mom and dad and boy and girl because they're hurtful. And it says all people are racist. So that's what we have right here. And it might be something else.
Sourcewell doesn't say all people are racist. It says one
just
particular
white people.
Group of white people.
Right.
Let
Yes.
me ask this. You are a Little Falls native.
Yep.
Born and raised. You didn't carpet bag into the area to do this.
Correct.
You have a military career?
I don't. Nope.
Okay. I have a military career.
Nope.
You don't stand to gain a massive financial windfall by running for office. In fact, you're doing all of this out of your own pocket, basically.
Correct. Yes.
You were the first person to announce for this brand new Senate seat.
Yes.
If we were to talk to the average person in Little Falls, what kind of skeletons are you hiding that they're going to be able to show us? And I asked this to Mike Murphy too when I had him on.
Right.
If you saw that, Mike said, like, I have nothing. I'm not hiding anything.
Well, as
what do you have to hide? What do you have to hide?
I have a lot of skeletons in my closet because I collect them. No.
And ladies and gentlemen, the FBI will be following this video pretty soon. So
right, they're deer and bear and stuff.
I
don't have anything to hide. I just want what's best for people and to fight for my community. So
How many times have you been convicted of felonies?
none.
Okay. When's the last time you had a speeding ticket?
I think I had a speeding ticket probably 20 years ago. I was doing
You're almost as boring as me.
I was doing 61 and a 55, and it was a Friday night, and I had a rough day at work, and I wanted to go fishing, and that's
You
that.
are a horrible person.
I know,
Like,
right?
you remember that? That was like you remember
because
the
it was
exact.
like my only one.
do you remember the exact reason why you got the ticket? That was obviously that deputy was having a bad day too.
Right. Well,
he wrote
said,
you up
how
for
fast you're
61 and a
going?"
55.
I said, I think I was doing like 60. He's like, "You're doing 61." I said, "Okay." And then he said, "Here's your ticket." I'm like, "Whatever."
And then you skipped out on that and had to be arrested in another state.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
will you agree to stay consistent?
Yes.
With the Constitution and vote the
have.
Constitution no matter what.
Yes, I will. And that's what we're founded on, and that's how we got to where we are. We need to stick to it. We can't change the Constitution because that's what America was built on. And
will you work with other conservatives
absolutely.
If and when you are elected, will you work with other conservatives, whether or not they agree with you 100% lockstep across the board on every single issue? Will you work with other constitutional conservatives to advance a constitutional agenda in the state of Minnesota?
We all have to work together, and that's the only way we can get anything done. And obviously you're going to have disagreements, but that's good because there might be other opinions or whatever that we need to talk about. And yes, I'll work with other people, but when it comes down to, what's right or wrong, I'm going to vote on, my convictions and what's right. And especially being in the Senate, it takes one senator to stand up and say, this is what we need to do. So you want constitutional carry, I'll stand up and say, let's have constitutional carry. Everybody runs on it, but who's going to stand up and say that? I will. So they better vote that. And we put on Jensen's desk and he signs it because he says he will. Same with, stand your ground and castle doctrine. And people are.
And by the way, just so you know, while we're doing this, I'm working with somebody right now who's been messaging me as they're watching that they're working to get Jensen on here to have those conversations.
Good.
So,
and I'm actually having a fundraiser on July 16th, and I've invited him to Morrison County and District 10 to talk to people here because, we're a strong red county, and, we're very conservative, and he needs to come and talk to people and let them know why we need to get behind him. And I've been telling people we need to support Jensen. We need to beat Walz.
Which sets you on the outside of some of the people that you've been rubbing elbows with for the last year or so.
Right.
And I'm not asking for names, but there are people out there who are like, if you say that you're going to support Jensen, then you're a compromiser. And I'm telling people right now, look, what we said at the beginning of this is we've got to get Jensen in, and then we have to swing the House, and we have to keep the Senate, so that even no matter what, the governor is basically powerless at that point.
Yep.
And we need a good attorney general.
I'm not compromising. I need to get elected so we can get the job done. And we need a Republican governor in there so he can do what he says he's going to do. If Walz gets elected, good luck. We're going to be wearing masks and, taking jabs for the next 4 years.
We may be wearing masks and taking jabs just to go to the polls this next November if we're not careful. And that's how important this is.
Yeah.
The reason I asked about that working with actual conservatives is that right now we're killing ourselves.
Yeah.
We are ending our own political lives right now because we're so busy. And like anybody who knows, like I'm going to call out corruption when I see it, which is why I put that video up that you let me have. I'll put the audio up of your conversation where you call your opponent out for lying, and he basically admits it.
Right.
I'll put that
Um,
up once again. That'll be on the subscribe star. So
I
if you want to
I
get
will
that,
work with people, but I'm not going to be persuaded to do the wrong thing.
exactly.
You know, and I'll let people know if that's what they're trying to do. That's not okay. We need to stand up for what's right. You know, and if you're going to try to persuade me to vote a certain way because it makes you money or makes you powerful, I'm not going to do it.
Will you be willing to stand alone if it comes to it and say, I'm going to oppose this because this omnibus bill has way too
Yeah,
much stuff in it, and you're
absolutely. Yep. We have to do that. We can't let this stuff continue. And even during a debate, I was asked, about Reagan's 11th commandment or something, and they said, "Will you abide by that? And if someone gets endorsed, will you not go to a primary because of whatever?" I said, "Well, currently I'm already being attacked for telling the truth, so I feel like I've already been violated. So if that happens, I have no choice but to go to the primary because you've already put me down. So I'm defending myself. I'm not attacking people. I'm just, telling the truth."
Well, let's just be honest. Like Reagan's 11th commandment, of politics was, "Thou shalt not talk bad
Right.
about any other Republicans."
Right.
And that's one of my things I had a beef with Burke about on the platform of the convention was he got really mad, and I'm over here going, okay, so as long as you're not publicly, you can smear your opponents privately all over the convention floor, which is what was happening. Because
Right.
when Neil threw his, and I pointed this out in my conversation with Neil on Monday night, when Neil threw his endorsement to Mike, the convention heads immediately smeared. Following Mike's surge into first place, the convention heads decided to smear Mike from the platform. That was okay. That was fine. Because, and there again, people have a lot of opinions about Mike right now. And we're working on getting Mike on here to talk a little bit about what happened and to answer some hard questions.
Yeah.
But how is that okay? And that's the
Right.
thing. If you don't smear the endorsed candidate as long as the endorsed candidate is one of the insiders.
Right.
But if you're endorsed and you're a Mark Wachowski or Eric Mortensen, we could smear you because you're not the right kind of Republican.
Right.
Well, this is my freaking party, and guess what? I'm going to take it back.
Yeah. Well, they forget that they work for us. They're servants to people. I'm not running for myself. I'm running to listen to what people want. And, for people that weren't at the convention, it started off with, Chairman Hahn saying, "We're all together. We can't smear anybody." And then he went right to saying the specific group of people is bad. You just said we can't smear other Republicans. And then right after you said that, you said these people are bad. Well,
but let's throw some of the examples of who are bad out there. After he said, "Don't smear anybody because we're all working together," he began to throw who under the bus? Like almost all the affiliate. He threw almost all the affiliates under the bus.
Affiliates, yes, but also he didn't say any particular person, but he said groups. So
right, but he threw the affiliates under the bus, and some of those affiliates are integral parts. The Gun Caucus and others under the bus. Like we're supposed to be the party of the Second Amendment and the First Amendment, and he threw those very people under the bus. And then their justification, if I remember correctly, on day one was, well, we don't want the log cabin Republicans in here, and so we're not gonna endorse any of the affiliate or bring any of the affiliates in. Well, I got news for you.
Tell people.
Go ahead.
You can't tell people that we're going to accept everybody and then say we'll accept everybody except for you, and you. That's especially if they're calling you out on something or you don't like a specific thing. So I actually had a conversation with David Hahn probably 2.5 months ago, which was interesting. As being the party chair of the Republican Party, you would think that you would be willing to listen and talk to someone and be open to hearing other points of view and not say, and I have this recorded too, if you want me to give it to you. Anyway,
that would be yes.
So it's like an hour recording. We were talking. He's like, "Do you realize who I am?" I said, "Well, who are you?" He said, "I'm the chair of the Republican Party." I'm like, "Okay."
I'm like, "Well, so is Jen Carnahan, and look what she did."
Right.
So
let's treat each other like people, and let's be on the same level and talk to each other and respect each other. That's what it needs to be. We need to respect each other. So, and I will name drop. Donna Bergstrom's been very helpful. I've talked to her, so for anyone that doesn't know, she's the Minnesota GOP vice chair. She's been helpful talking to me. I text her, I call her. She lets me know. She tries to work with us. I just think that she might not have a lot of friends down there. So, but I'm trying to work. What I'm trying to say is I'm trying to work with people. And I'm trying to do what's right for the people. And people pushing back that don't want to hear anyone's voice except for their own, and they want to keep us out. So.
Well, look, hey, I jokingly say things like when people are arguing with me about like my credentials, and like I was telling you about the individual who's like, "Well, you probably got some hack show anyway." So I'm like, clearly don't know who I am. When I say you clearly don't know who I am, it's not like, "Hey, treat me with respect because you don't know who I am."
Right.
But when you lead a conversation with, "Do you even know who I am?" in that situation, like you're dealing with Han. That's an intimidation tactic.
Right.
Like that's basically, I can make you or break you. And that's precisely the problem with the two-party system right now. I am paleo-conservative. I am a constitutional conservative. I am all about a constitutional republic. But I'm going to reach across the aisle to the libertarian side, not to the left. I'm going to reach across the aisle to the libertarian side. And I'm going to reach out to a guy like Bull Johnson, and say, our values are almost identical. We may not have the exact same principle as far as how we're going to get there, but our values are almost identical. I have much more in common with you than I do with the guys over here on the left. And when party chairs say things like that, that makes me go, I don't want anything to do with you. When somehow you throw that out there, like I'm supposed to kowtow to you and bend to your will, that tells you everything you need to know about what's wrong with the party. Period.
Right. Well, another thing,
and I'm all about, let's get Red Hardigan on there. I think Red Hardigan should be the chair of the party right now, because I got news for you. Fun. I know Red pretty well. She ain't gonna put up with that.
Yeah. Another thing I said is he's like, well, I don't even know who you are. I'm like, that's fine, but I said I'm representing the people in my area. And he said, well, you can't represent the people in your area. I said, why not? He said, well, you haven't been elected. I don't need to be elected to represent people and speak for people. I'm a voice for people, but we're working together. I'm not.
I didn't vote for Han. He doesn't get to represent me.
Right. Exactly. So thank you. I said, yes, I can speak for people. And you need to listen to us. That's your job, is to listen to the people. And I've got lots of good stuff. I'm not going to talk all about everything. I just have to give.
Yeah, don't ruin it. We're going to put it up on my subscribe star.
That's right. And they can pay to see it. So
they could, well, like TC got to make a little money somehow.
That's right. I do too, actually. Can I plug myself?
No, not at all. Because you just live off your wife, because you're just a lazy piece of crap. So
right,
yeah,
exactly.
Plug yourself. So tell us how we can help you, because I do want to do that.
Right, I do need help. We need to send out mailers. We need to talk to people, and we need to get the word out, because I'm going to get attacked by the party for telling the truth and trying to speak for people. So you can go to Wesenberg for Senate.com, and you can donate on my webpage, or you can go to Nathan Wesenberg for Senate on Facebook, and that'll bring you to my webpage. You can donate there, or my address will pop up, and you can send cash or money also. And I appreciate anything that anybody can give me. It's not just for me, it's for us. We're fighting to take back our state together.
Take back the state.
And so that money is not going to be for me. It's your money being helped to fight for you.
You're not going to buy yourself a brand new Cadillac Escalade?
Probably a Dodge Ram. Yeah.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't have said that, because that's now on video, and somebody will clip that out.
Well,
No, so just because you can't vote for Nate doesn't mean you can't help him. And the thing that we have to do is we have to get behind, and I said this with Neil on and I mentioned this to you already. Bull and I are working to build a coalition. We're not asking for money, but we're working on building a coalition and a connection and a network of genuine conservatives, be they libertarian, or if maybe they're people who have voted DFL their entire lives, but they're like, I'm actually a blue dog Democrat. I'm like, I'm really actually conservative socially and economically. And I don't recognize the party anymore. Just kind of like
there,
AJ Kern stepping across that aisle. And
I have had people in my community that say, they come up to me and say, I'm a Democrat, but I appreciate what you're doing because you're speaking for people and you're helping me, because no one is speaking for me right now, but you are. So
right. And like, and here's something else. Like, I'm going to point this out. I'm like, she doesn't get paid to do this. In fact, your wife is saying when we get him in, he will be our voice in the Senate. And there again, I just think I wish I could figure out a way to superimpose her face over yours right now, because like she's much easier on the eyes than you are.
Do you want her to have the beard though? I mean, come on.
No, I'm gonna like superimpose the picture there. I like picking on my guests, and that's what I
good.
do. We have got to unite, and we have to find people there again. And I keep saying this over and over again, that the whole point of the coalition that Travis and I want to build is to find those places where we agree and get behind those things. And then we have the conversation on the things we disagree with about, because it's not that they're unimportant, but oftentimes we refuse to have a conversation with somebody strictly because they don't agree with me 100%. And so I'm going to label them X to discredit them. And that's killing us. It's absolutely killing us right now. And
well, I've invited, so I'm having a fundraiser on July 16th here at the Little Falls Ballroom. And, just to talk to people and let people know what I'm doing and get people together. But, I invited Jensen and Burke and Ryan Wilson and, the candidates that are, Jim Schultz, the candidates that are endorsed. Maybe I didn't agree with them before endorsement, but, we have to get behind our endorsed candidates right now to beat the ones that are on the other side, because the Democrats are really bad right now. And we know that. Look what they did the last couple of years.
They're very good. They're better than we are. They will tear down people in their own party to get their idea of the right person up, and then they will focus all of their energy on tearing us down.
Right. And I think that's something that people need to realize when we're telling somebody something about someone in our own party. We're not attacking somebody. We're letting you know how they're not representing you, and that you need to know that. So how do you know if someone doesn't tell you that? We're not trying to sling mud. It's the truth, and it's backed up by facts. I can put the facts in your hand. I can put their votes in your hand. I can put, the records in your hand, or the videos in your hands. So if I say it, I have proof. Otherwise, I'm not going to say it. And if I do say something that is wrong, I would, apologize. But you need to know how people are not representing you. And that's why we are where we are. More government isn't the answer. Continuing to vote for people that have been in government and have friends in politics has got us to where we are. We need change, and we need people that are going to speak up for people.
Well, let's just be honest. How many people have been voting for the same Republican candidate, and our state is still drifting further and further to the left, while they continue to vote for that same Republican candidate because, gosh darn it, they're a Republican.
Right.
It's time to change things up. We have to, and that's been, you heard Neil say this the other night. Neil's ready to take down the old guard. We need to take them down. The only way to do that is not going to be a coalition of one. It's got to be a coalition of multiple genuine grassroots, traditional conservatives and libertarians who are willing to work together to take out the old guard so that we're not getting assaulted when we go to county conventions because we have the audacity to ask hard questions. And we're not getting on a phone call with somebody and go, well, you can't represent. Do you know who I am? And you can't represent because you haven't been elected. Like, who voted for you, bro? That's the stuff that's got to end. And we have to take the party back over. The Tea Party gave it a really good shot in 2010. They gave it a really good shot. They just didn't have the numbers, and they got co-opted. And where are they now? And Rand Paul gave it a really good, or not Rand, excuse me, Ron Paul gave it a really good shot. And when he had his alternate convention in Minneapolis on the same weekend that the GOP had their convention, his was more well attended in the state of Minnesota than the GOP convention was. So there's something to be said there. People in Minnesota are ready for a change. And I think it starts with people like you.
Yeah. And we, like you said, we need to work together. We're all fighting for, the same cause, and that's, our freedom, values, and the Constitution. And, the America I grew up in was pretty good. I don't want my kids to grow up in the America we're in right now. I want better for my children and everybody's children and everybody in general. So,
and let's not just be conservatives in the mindset of, well, let's conserve what my country was when I was a kid, because then we're just conserving a slow drift to the left. I want to conserve a nation that's good for everyone. And that's what conservatives have always stood for. People like to say conservatives are the party, are the party of the racists, of the ethnic haters. It's literally not. When you look around, the conservatives have far more in common with all ethnicities and all groups. I've got a friend who's good. I'd like to call him a good friend now. His name's Joshua Slocum. I had him on a few weeks ago. He's an openly gay man who walked away from the woke social justice feminist movement and has very strong conservative values. And he's an atheist. And yet he finds he has far more in common with people like me and you. And your camera did not like that bug on that screen. It's having a hard time focusing right now. But yet, and there again, this is why I look at what the log cabin Republicans. A lot of them are actually very socially and fiscally conservative. They're and yet we want to reject them. Those are the people we need to be reaching across the aisle to, not to the left.
Right.
Reaching across the aisle to these people and say, hey, we may have some disagreements on some foundational things, but we all have the same goal, and that is to conserve the republic.
Right.
And that's what I see in you when we've conversed, is this desire to not just toe a party line, but to represent the people.
Right.
And that's what I wish people could understand. I don't want to destroy the Republican Party. I want to rebuild the Republican Party in the state of Minnesota, because the Republican Party that I used to represent, I was a co-vice chair in my county years ago. The Republican Party that I used to represent and walked away from does not look anything like it should. It's really just the DFL light.
Right. Yep. And that's when, people in the party say we're trying to tear down the Republican Party and do whatever. No, we're trying to fix it and save it. They're tearing it down by only having their values be important and what they want. And that always comes down to power and money. And that's not what we need.
That's absolutely 100% right. So when's this event in Little Falls?
I have multiple. So I have July 16th is a Saturday. That's at the ballroom. It starts at 3:00. So 3 to 5:30 will be like a social hour. Then we'll have a dinner. And when people get seated, we'll have candidates speak. So I've got, I think, myself and a few other candidates. Chuck will be there. I believe Ryan Wilson will be there. I'm waiting to hear back from.
Wasn't he one of the Beach Boys?
Yeah, the good one. Yeah. Ryan Wilson will be Ryan Wilson will be a great auditor, by the way. So he's a very smart guy. So then
What
when
can I
people
do
are
to help
sitting-
you? What can I do to help you with that event?
that event, you
Mhm.
can, I guess you can tell people to show up. I mean, that's why I want these other people there too, because people in this district need to have access to them. So we can't drive to the cities and necessarily talk to these people because, there's a lot of working people. So I'm hoping that they can come up here and talk to these people. But yeah, so you could share that, tell people to show up. I'm going to do like a silent auction. So if anyone wants to donate anything, I'm looking for anything from, homemade jam to two-way stuff and whatever,
2-way or 2A?
2A,
I was trying to figure
Second
out.
Amendment.
I was trying to figure out if you
Yeah.
were trying to get people to donate radios. All of a sudden, I'm like, what the?
Well, you
They're
can
not
donate
even
a
gonna be
radio,
Yeah, like
right?
radios won't even be working by then because they will have EMP'd us at that point.
So that's why I want these people that we've, endorsed to show up so they can talk to the people in this area and let them know why they need to elect them and why they will represent us. And then they can talk to these people and they can get, asked hard questions possibly for whatever people have to ask them, and if they come up here and show people they're willing to speak to them, that speaks a lot right there, just to show up to these events and talk to people. So,
Well,
so
why
yeah,
why don't you send me a flyer for
I will.
that?
Yep.
And
so that'll be a big one.
I might be able to save up enough money to even drive to your event at that point.
Yeah, you can come up.
I might have to borrow my mom's car.
Maybe they're looking for a bartender at the event. You can do that.
Yeah, I only know how to make two things: Long Island's and rum and Coke. So
there you go. and open a beer bottle or something. Yeah. But so I'm having some fundraisers. I'm having one on June 19th in Little Falls, also June 18th in Malacca or Isle. Actually, so this is pretty muchly confirmed down in Blaine.
Did you just say pretty muchly?
Pretty muchly, yes. So
yes. We're gonna have to have the doctor. We're gonna have to have the doctor write your script from now on.
I will confirm this for sure, but the date's confirmed. I just have to confirm some other things. On July 14th, I'm going to have a fundraiser in Blaine at the gun club. So that's down in the cities area.
You're going to the cities?
Yeah, my uncle lives down there, and he has some friends down there. So I'm going to come talk to people and shoot guns and talk about freedom and try to raise some money so we can win. So
manly stuff.
Right, exactly. That's what we're about, right? So, and I'm just trying to talk to people. I want everyone to talk to me, So,
and once again, Mr. Newberger, right?
Yep.
You want to come on here and refute anything that's been said, or tell us why you are the better candidate? I'll put you on. I'll put you on. Jennifer says, "Hi, who's Dennis? Is that your opponent?"
That's my uncle. Yep.
Your uncle? Oh, so, I'm like,
yeah, he's the one that's setting up the event down in the cities, and then afterwards we're gonna have a barbecue at his house. I think, right, Dennis?
Well, I guess he's watching, and your wife said that he said so it must be true. Yep. And so thanks for watching, and share this out. So I need to get views so that he gets views, so that people know who he is, and we can get some backing to him. Your wife also said something else, and I think this is patently true. I'm much better looking than you. Yeah, I agree with that. My friend Johnson, who's from way down on the southeast, says, I'm friends with ANCAPs, monarchists, libertarians, liberals, social conservatives, and others. There's a lot of common ground to explore. And that's precisely true. We have to work on that mindset.
Right now, I'm glad someone said that, because, we're all Americans, and I feel like we're in a battle of good versus evil, and we all have to work together, and we all have a common goal, and that's, life, liberty, and happiness, right? So.
Your wife is sending me that information I was asking for, and so I'm looking while you're talking.
No.
She has a very interesting name on Facebook.
That's so people can't find her. Yeah.
Which is always the goal of Facebook. Don't get found.
Right. Yeah. Unless you want to be.
Unless you
Right.
want to be.
Yeah.
And then you do a little bit of a spot on TC's show, and then, so everybody finds you anyway. Nathan, I can't thank you enough for your time. I think that you represent the values of your area just from listening to you. I think you could pull people in. I think you could pull people from the blue into the red, not purple, but just pull them in from the blue to the red. And we're going to watch out for you. The more that you have that shows the corruption that's been going on, because I know we do have some information that you can show about some other things about the way finances in Morrison County, and that stuff is going to be made available. There are going to be some teaser videos put out as we get that stuff put together that shows that there's been some stuff going on behind the scenes that is clearly questionable at best and probably unethical.
Right.
When it comes to financing. We'll do some teaser videos with that. We'll put some of that up strictly, or not strictly, but right onto YouTube, and probably put some of that up on the Subscribe Star. And the reason that I'm doing that is not just because I want people to subscribe, but Subscribe Star is a really good platform where we can put that stuff up and they're not going to force it down because they're pretty open about allowing people to have diverse opinions.
Right.
And so if you put it out there and you put it behind the Subscribe Star setup, a lot of the looky-loos and the hate watchers aren't going to really want to spend that kind of money to go out there to see it. And it's going to raise awareness. So definitely be looking for the Subscribe Star. And it's scrolling across the bottom as we get this stuff, because once again, it's harder for them to force that down.
Right.
Whereas with YouTube, they can do a lot of stuff to it. So make sure you're keeping us abridged of your events. Show us how we can help, and send this video to your opponents, and then send it also to your party chair in your county and say, hey, here's the individual who's already talked about you. He's more than willing to give you the platform. I'm not going to yell and scream at him. I'm just going to hold him accountable. Right. And to me, that's the most important thing. So let's hold them accountable and give them the opportunity to defend themselves. Silence is going to say a lot more than if they refuse the invite.
Something I do want to say is to all the people that have helped me this last year. We're not doing this alone. We're doing it together. And, that speaks about what you said is, helping me, but, we need to stand together and do this together. I can be a voice, but it's not about me. It's about you, and it's about all of us. So, I'm, thank everybody in my community who's given me support and who's helped me. And we're all fighting this together.
Well, there might be something coming. TC might start showing up at Republican meetings in his own county. Somebody reached out to me and said, hey, we really need you. We'd really like to have you at a meeting. I'm like, do you know who I am? So
you got to speak your mind and tell the truth. Yeah.
I appreciate your time. I know you got family that would probably like to see you for a little while tonight. So we've had you for almost 2 hours. So share this out, wherever you want. And if you're still watching, like, comment, and share. Let's make sure that Nate's getting the views. This is literally not about me, because I want to platform people, and let's start building bridges to the right conservatives and the right people. Even if we're not 100% lockstep on every single issue, let's make sure we're linked on the right issues, and we're able to articulate why we believe what we believe. And so, Nathan, you and Jen, go enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm going to do my close, and
awesome.
We'll get this going. I appreciate your time.
All right. Yep. It was good. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks. Seriously, thank you for your time and allowing me to have you on.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, Nathan Wesenberg. German, Scandinavian, and all sorts of things. He's like, it's like I'm German and Scandinavian. People ask me what that means, and I say, well, it means I have Viking and Germanic heritage, which means I get really mad very easily, but I never know what to do about it. So, even if you're not in Senate District 10 in Minnesota, you can help him. If you're outside of the state of Minnesota, you can help him. You can donate to his campaign. You can share the video. You can let people hear in their own words. You can reach out to the Little Falls Police Department and the Little Falls City Council and demand that the man who assaulted Jennifer be held accountable. I mean, he assaulted her, and the video link to that assault will be in the description of this video. You don't get to do that to people just because you don't like what they're doing. You don't get to do that just because you don't care for them on a personal level because you don't like their politics. It's assault is assault is assault. And y'all saw that happen to me at a school board meeting situation in the city of Rochester. Former Rochester police lieutenant, now working as an administrator for the Rochester Public Schools, put his hands all over me when I said I want to file charges. Well, there's nothing there. And so they protect each other. And so we need to make sure that we are asking for justice in these situations, and we need to support sound candidates. I want to point out something too. When you watch the video of Jennifer being assaulted by this old guard misogynist, is Lauren Heffron. Nate kept his hands behind his back. Jen said this in her section of the conversation. Nate kept his hands behind his back. He didn't put his hand. That had been me. I don't know that I could have had that kind of control. I just don't know that I could have. That speaks volumes of what kind of senator this man would be. He'll be a statesman. And that's what we need, is we need more people like him who are able to maintain that level of calm forcefulness. And it worked out well for him. If you like my content, make sure you're subscribed to my page. I do not know how to tell people how the pages, my YouTube channel has grown. In the last couple of weeks, it's been mind-blowing to me. I don't know what I'm doing that's causing this, and I don't know why, but I'm thankful for it. If you're watching this video after the fact and you just really like the content, you can even do a thing now called Super Thanks, where you can literally just add your comment and send a couple of bucks my way. It's going to help keep the content going. You know, I picked up my sponsor tonight. I told you guys about the Ardent Sales Group. I don't know what to tell you other than I'm overwhelmed with the support. And more than anything, if you like the content and you want to have some access to some of the exclusive stuff, I've got some Spike Cohen stuff that's up that's exclusive right now. I'm going to have an interview that I did a while back with an individual who was leaving the United States to go fight on the side of the Ukrainian military. That's going to be put out in some exclusive sections so that people on the Subscribe Star are only able to watch that. No one else will be able to see it. Nate's going to share some of the audio with us, and that's going to be predominantly available through the Subscribe Star. Once again, just to protect it, to keep people from forcing it down. So the only way they're going to be able to listen to it and try and force it down is to subscribe to the channel. And at that point, like, fine, if you want to try, go for it. I can't tell you, the last 2 years has been foundationally and extremely important to me, because there have been a lot of you who have come on board and have been backers and supporters financially, more, by way of morale, your positive, encouraging words. But it's not about me. It's about guys like Nate and Nate Wesenberg and Nate Miller and Neil Shaws and others. And tomorrow I want you to tune in as I have AJ Kern on, as she's trying to get rid of Ilhan Omar in the only way that she can, which is through the legal procedure. And AJ's a genuine conservative. I had a very interesting conversation with her last night before, before we scheduled an exact time. So tune in tomorrow, 1:15 p.m. We're going to have her on. And I'm working on having somebody on who is a detractor who disagrees with my position on what happened down in Texas with the mass shooting incident at the school down there. I've invited him on to embarrass me on my own platform, and he called me a coward. So there's that. So be paying attention, especially watch Monday night, if you will, if you're a vet, if you love vets. I'm going to have the guys from Turn 22 to Zero on. I'm going to have my co-host from Veteran Nation, Mike Arthur, on, and our producer, Juan. I'm going to try and get him on, as well as my friend Andrea, who is a Navy vet, and other veterans. We're gonna just spend some time on Monday night talking about veterans issues. I want to apologize ahead of time to another friend who's supposed to be on Monday night. We're going to push you out a week. I feel like Monday needs to be dedicated to veterans, to those who have lost their lives both in combat and who have lost their lives after the fact. 22 veterans a day are taking their lives. 22 or more are taking their lives because our country has turned its back on them after they have given up so much of their own lives, which is why I'm an anti-interventionist and I am against the initiation of force. We need to watch out for our own country, and sending our boys and girls off into combat into other nations that we have no vested interest in is a good way to kill them, either in the battlefield or when they come home to the battlefield that is their life after being in combat. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, thanks for watching. Go support Nate. He's easy to find. Wesenberg for Senate. Fight for your liberties. Fight for what is right. And until next time, sic semper tyrannis.
We are go for liftoff in T-minus 30.
Stand by for further instructions, Minnesota Black Robe Regiment.
Secondary guidance systems engaged.
Minnesota Black Robe Regiment, it will be on my mark.
All systems are a go. All systems are a go.
Minnesota Black Robe Regiment, you are over the target. You are authorized to fire at will.